So if you look at a fertilizer label, they always have at least these 3 digits. The first digit refers to nitrogen percent by mass. The second number refers to phosphate by mass. And the third refers to potash or potassium by mass. These are old holdovers from the fertilizer industry, and I have no idea why. Why do we not just say how much percent phosphorus instead of phosphate? Because phosphate isn't actually in the soil. It's in a different form slightly. And K2O, that's not how necessarily potassium exists in the soil. But this is what we have. This is what we have to work with. So most times, fertilizer recommendations will be P2O5, phosphate, or it will be this potash, this K2O. You'll hear those terms kind of interchangeably, and it's really just talking about phosphorus and potassium. Okay, so anyway, the first number is percent nitrogen, second number is percent phosphorus, phosphate, the third number is percent potassium, and if there are additional nutrients, they are supposed to spell those out. So if there was iron, for example, they would say how much percent is iron, how much is zinc. Sometimes those are nutrients we have to deal with, especially if you have a higher pH. Sometimes iron becomes an issue, or zinc might be when you have really depleted soils that have been scraped, like I talked about, urban soils that have been disturbed, and you're left with that subsoil. Zinc can become an issue in some of those soils. So you'd have to go to a specialty store to find these fertilizers. But, you know, if you have a local co-op, they are the cheapest place I've found to find fertilizer in just about any dose you need. I've walked in with a grain scoop and a 5-gallon bucket, and I said, "Can I buy some sulfur from you?" They looked at me a little strange, but it was worth it because I didn't have to buy 2,000 pounds of sulfur, which would break the bank. I could buy 50 or 60 pounds and have enough almost for a lifetime for my garden, since my pH is right where it needs to be. So lawn and garden stores will typically have just the three-part. Some will have iron. Most should be high in nitrogen and low in the rest, and that's because of the issues with phosphorus getting into the water and causing algae blooms. There's been mandates to try to reduce that, and so most fertilizers are higher in N, since that's what we're typically deficient with anyway.